Good Tuesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Minnesota continues to mourn and to process after Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were killed early on Saturday morning. The man authorities believe is responsible for the murder of the Hortmans, Vance Belter, has been charged with 6 federal charges in addition to state charges. Michelle Beck breaks down the latest information on how Belter initially escaped law enforcement.
Well, right now, Vance Belter is sitting here at the Sherburne County Jail as he now faces 6 new federal charges on top of those state charges. And we now have additional details telling us how exactly authorities say Belter escaped before ultimately getting caught by police. According to a criminal complaint, Belter was spotted at his North Minneapolis crash pad after his alleged murder of Melissa Hortman and her husband. Here, they found a handwritten list of lawmakers' names plus a receipt from Fleet Farm where Belter bought things like ammunition and the materials to make this fake police license plate. Meanwhile, court documents say Belter left the home and went up to a stranger at a bus stop asking to buy an e-bike, then eventually the man's Buick. That Buick turned into Belter's alleged getaway car, and after he left it on the side of the road, a neighbor spotted him on the e-bike in the countryside. This escape follows even more new details from authorities that Belter visited not 2 but 4 lawmakers. One state representative was not home, and at another's home, Belter got spooked by an officer.
It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Belter stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes, held them out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood.
The criminal complaint also details what exactly Belter sent to his family members, and he said this, quote, at 6:18 a.m., quote, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody."
Now, meanwhile, in Brooklyn Park, the community gathered to honor the lives of both Mark and Melissa Hortman. Victor Jacobo was at the memorials for the Hortmans last night and talked to neighbors about what that family meant to the community.
For some of the people I spoke with here at Grace Fellowship Church in Brooklyn Park, Melissa and Mark Hortman were close neighbors and friends, and their deaths have left them in disbelief. Tonight's prayer vigil, a somber gathering for people to heal together and remember the Hortmans and pray for the healing of John and Yvette Hoffman. Church leaders told me many people feel isolated following this weekend's tragedy, and they hope this vigil brings comfort and hope. While the Hortmans nor the Hoffmans were members of Grace Fellowship, many of those who do attend this church were close with them. I spoke with Sheila and Kirk Enzenauer. They say they live about a quarter of a mile away from the Hortmans and knew the couple for many years. They told me they could hear the gunshots and police activity from their home when the shooting happened, and they shared why they felt it was important to come here tonight.
It's just part of the healing, and just everybody else is feeling what you're feeling, and so when you're around that it does help. It helps to process, but again, it's surreal. It's absolutely surreal. How could this happen?
We want people to know that we are standing together, that they're not alone, they're seen, they're heard. We want to make sure that they're aware that we're here for them and that we want to join arms together to help heal and serve our cities.
The event also offered prayers for first responders, city leaders, and community members. Now, for some of the folks I spoke with today, they say this is just the beginning of the healing process. Some say they plan to attend any public funeral events that there may be in the coming days to remember the Hortmans. Reporting from Grace Fellowship Church in Brooklyn Park, Victor Jacobo, KARE 11 News.
As vigils grow to honor the impact the Hortmans made on the people in their community, at least one veteran remembers them for another kind of impact. Adriana D'Alba introduces us to the work the Hortmans did with a local nonprofit, Helping Paws.
All right, come here.
To understand who the Hortmans were,
Yep. In.
You only need to see the gift they gave a struggling veteran.
I was really at a bad place.
As Eric Elsner fought through the darkest parts of PTSD,
Got a call and they said, "We think we have a match for you."
that match was Minnie, a service dog who gave him new life.
She got me going again.
But before Minnie stood by his side,
Good girl.
she spent the first 2.5 years of her life in the care of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman, her husband, and their daughter. Together, they trained this dog to heal.
It just makes me think of how special their family was, you know.
That's why the news that Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot and killed
It doesn't make sense.
hits so unthinkably hard.
I'm so sad, you know. Everybody is.
The Hortmans spent countless hours volunteering with Helping Paws, a nonprofit, now reflecting not on Hortman's politics, but on the quiet legacy she built behind closed doors.
She would walk into the building. We were in Hopkins at the time, and that public persona just went away, and she was totally focused on training Gilbert.
Gilbert, the golden retriever she poured her heart into. He was deemed too friendly to serve as a working dog, so the Hortmans kept him. Gilbert was also killed in the shooting.
He was with his people to the very end.
People who gave Eric his loyal companion
I don't know how you can match any better, honestly.
and a second chance at life.
I will. I'll always think of them.
In Minneapolis, I'm Adriana Dalb.
Well, as Minnesota lawmakers unite in their grief and mutual support for one another after the fatal shooting, the story unfolding on the national level is less unified. President Donald Trump today said he will not call Governor Tim Walz about the shooting, saying that phone call would be, quote, a waste of time.
On Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. He appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
In other news, today also marks a somber anniversary in Charleston, South Carolina. It has been 10 years since the tragic shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church. As the nation remembers the 9 people killed that day, NBC's Craig Melvin recently spoke with some of the survivors and the victims' family members.
This spring, 16-year-old Milana Pinckney went to the prom without her father there to see her off. Her dad, the Reverend Clemente Pinckney, was one of 9 people killed during the shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church in 2015.
What have the last 10 years been like for you?
Just trying to keep my life normal. It is so hard to kind of like go through your life and not just let this tear me down for the rest of my life. I have so much that I have to live for my mom and for my dad.
Milana is going into her senior year of high school. Her older sister, Eliana, just graduated college. Their father was the senior pastor at Mother Emanuel, as well as a state senator. His widow, Jennifer, is raising the girls on her own.
This year, there were a lot of milestones. Milana went to the prom. Eliana graduated from college. Your father should have been here to witness and to be a part of all of this that's going on.
Jennifer and Milana hid under a desk in an office during the shooting. Despite being just 6 years old at the time, Milana cannot forget that day.
You were so young. Do you have memories?
I remember walking out of the Bible study, and the police officer was like, let's play a game. And she was like, put your head in my shoulders and close your eyes and see how long you can close your eyes. And she walked past where all the pools of blood were.
Felicia Sanders' son, Tawanza, was the first person shot that day. Tawanza, a writer and musician who'd recently graduated from college, tried to reason with the gunman before he was killed.
My son was on one side of me. My granddaughter was under my belly. She kept saying she was afraid, so I've been pushing her mouth so close to my ribs that I really thought I suffocated her.
Polly Shepard came face to face with a killer, a white supremacist named Dylan Roof.
When he looked at you and he told you he was going to spare your life so that you could tell the story, what did you think in that moment?
I thought I was going to die because the gun was pointed downward. He went past me after he said that and shot Tawanza 5 or 6 times. Then he came back by me and said, I'm 21 and my life is over. But he clicked the gun 2 times then, but it jammed or something.
Why did you do it? Roof ran and was arrested in North Carolina the following day. He was convicted of the murders and is on death row.
How much does it bother either one of you, that he's never expressed remorse?
To be honest with you, I think because he left me for dead and he knew that I was dead, I think I bothered him.
What we remember is what he said at the end of the court. He said that he would do it again if he had a chance.
10 years later, the community is still healing. Mother Emanuel AME Church remains open. Next to it, a memorial to the victims is under construction, a monument in stone to an unforgettable loss.
10 years later, what do you hope that people take away from this terrible tragedy?
To remember, first and foremost. I want them to remember what happened. Because a lot of people have forgotten. To try to come together, to work, that their lives, those 9 lives, weren't in vain. We gotta love one another, we gotta move forward, we gotta work together.
The deadly conflict in Israel and Iran has now entered its 4th day. Both nations have continued trading missile strikes, with Israel claiming full air superiority over Iran. NBC's Richard Engel brings us the latest information on the battle.
This morning, a powerful Iranian missile slipped through Israeli air defenses, smashing into a bus terminal north of Tel Aviv. The missile dug a deep crater in the upscale suburb of Herzliya and burned the area. In Iran, Israeli strikes are unrelenting. Israel says its jets have now full air superiority over Tehran and that it's destroyed a third of Iran's missile launchers. And Israel isn't just targeting the military. Iranian state TV was live on air, an anchor appearing defiant, when suddenly Israel bombed the building. Most Iranians only have access to state TV, so it was a warning to Iranians that Israel can strike when and where it chooses. The escalating conflict is putting the entire Middle East on edge. Imagine seeing this out of your plane window. This video appears to show what passengers saw from a commercial flight as Iranian missiles on their way to Israel streaked through the sky. It's little wonder why airspace across the region has either been closed or disrupted. In an interview with ABC, Prime Minister Netanyahu says the threat from Iran extends to the United States.
Today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want.
In Israel, some Iranian missiles are causing casualties, including in this apartment building outside Tel Aviv on Monday.
My mother, as I said, my father.
We followed Lucy Bukai up to her family's 10th floor apartment. It's trashed, windows shattered, no power.
So what is it like for you to see your family house like this?
It's, I have no words. It's just, I feel like it's a movie. It's a bad movie.
Her baby's bed is covered in glass. She does not want to come back.
How? How can you continue to live here if such thing can happen?
Back at home, hail and heavy rain were reported around Minnesota yesterday. Dan Kennedy takes us to Waconia for a recap of yesterday's weather.
We got reports of baseball-size hail here in Waconia last night. Imagine hail this size slamming down into your car, on your roof. That's what happened for a lot of folks here. And with sunrise today, they're now out assessing any potential damage, though as of last night, no reports of any major widespread damage here in Waconia. Here are some of the photos and videos a lot of you sent us last night. Here in the western suburbs, it came down fast and hard. We're talking big chunks of ice pummeling cars, rooftops, and yards during those early evening storms. Across the area, multiple confirmed tornadoes in northern Minnesota and several other suspected ones. There was one tornado reported in Mankato. It was on the weaker end. The tornadoes all part of a wild weather day that brought hot sun, high humidity, and storms firing up fast. And then all that rain we got closer to Minneapolis causing some issues. Utapils Brewing, they posted some pictures of flooding outside their building, but also inside, soaking their tap room. Their building backs right up to Bassett Creek, and that brewery had to close down Monday to clean up the mess. As those homeowners here in Waconia start to assess any potential damage today, we'll be sure to pass along any reports that we hear of. Reporting in Waconia, Dan Kennedy, KARE 11 News.
Stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.